I'm going to do a big talky video today about the bike behind me. Basically, I'm going to do like an origin story. I'm going to tell you how I got into this, what I was doing before, what my plans are, etc. I used to be into RC racing big time. I had run the MRCC Facebook page, the Michigan RC Club. It was like the biggest RC online thing in Michigan at the time. But the people in RC just fighting, arguing, crap all the time. I just got sick of it. And plus, we used to race here little mini Z's, which are tiny little cars. They are a frickin' riot. We had an awesome track here. Had a group of guys. We had some of the best fun I've ever had in my life here. Little to my knowledge, the people I was racing with were liberals, and I got canceled. This was about the time when the gay Superman came out. Okay, I don't agree with that. A role model of strength and solidarity for young boys is now gay. I think that's wrong as hell. So, because of my belief that that's wrong to do to kids, I got canceled. Was told that I was full of hate, and that I needed help, and this and that. Crazy, yada, yada, yada. I was pretty burnt. I've never been wronged like this before in my life. And men know, they take disrespect real personal. So I had to get out of RC. I was looking for something to do for a hobby to keep me out of trouble. I wasn't an MC before. Now I was the president of the El Paso chapter. And I'm getting old, got family, kids, The MC life is not as attractive when you have a family, So I like motorcycles, I always have. I was watching YouTube and things like that, and I got to give a shout out to some Miami boys, Mardy Full Throttle. I watch his videos, and I thought that looked like a riot. Hand make a little bike, whether you remodel one or build your own. I thought that was cool. Men do things with their hands. They build and create things. So I saw what he was doing down there in Miami, and I was like, man, I could do that. After building that bike, I wanted more. So I said, shit, man, I was doing good. It was a Republican days. Everybody's making money hand over fist. I'm like, shit, man, I can get a welder and some tools. That ain't nothing, So I bought a little flux core welder, a high Nate from Amazon. It's like $150. So I learned the hard way. I started getting a spray to keep the splatter off, things like that. But it just sucks. It'd overheat the metal. Things would warp really bad. You'd have to have everything fixtured down to just to weld it so it wouldn't warp all over hell. They're like, man, this is a ride. I actually made something. I took some metal, I bent it, I welded it together, I made something real. And that's all I ever wanted to learn. Like when I went to college and everything, they always ask you, so what do you want to do? I says, I want to learn how to design something and then go out and make it. I said, if I could have that knowledge, I'd be a pretty powerful guy. Minibikes is just, all the ladies is chasing a mini bike. Every single time, it's like 20 chicks chasing a dude. Minibikes, make women's world go round. Anyways, then it was the little fatty, the BTX 200, BT200X, something like that. Coleman POS. I had always seen the BT200X, and it was like, man, the shape of that frame, everything is more chopper-esque or motorcycle style. I said, man, I could move that seat down, do some cool stuff and make it look pretty badass. So I bought one. When I bought one, the damn bike was $1,000. Now you can pick them up for like $600, something like that. So basically, I paid $1,000 for a frame and two wheels because I stripped everything off that damn bike. I painted it all white. I made a video about it. It's got like 20-something thousand views. Pretty proud of that one. And I really didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just kind of sticking my neck out there to see what happened. And I pulled it off. I was pretty proud of that. I said, man, I turned this thing around. I painted it, made it look awesome. I lowered the seat down. I put the ghost in it with the flywheels and the card. I learned how to do all this stuff by doing that bike. And then I put that tank in there. So that was kind of like my signature thing, was the inside tank you know, with an exoskeleton style frame. As you can see with a lot of my bikes, I've kept that same theme going on. I built the little fatty, and man, thing's a riot. One of the most famous mini bikes out there for about a year. It's for sale. If somebody wants to buy it, no BS. I'll ship it if you pay. It's going to be freight, going to cost you $200-300 to ship it. I would like to get $3,500 for that bike. That's not what each part is worth. That's what it's worth to me. My time isn't cheap. My time building this bike is included. You know what I mean? So, when somebody sells a mini bike, let's say Mini Vickless or Damon. I don't know how to say your last name, man. Aviles, something like that. So like when he sells one of those trikes, you know, he gets $6-7 for those suckers because, one, of the level of quality, and two, there's a lot of work goes into building one of these bikes, especially if you're building it from the ground up. I mean, if you're bending the frame, welding everything, putting all your parts on, and it's specialty parts, it takes a lot of time and a lot of money. Americans are eager for everything. We're greedy and eager. We've got no patience. But you need to have patience because all this stuff is done on the side. I don't sell mini bikes to make a living, but it keeps me in a garage, keeps me from being out there. So the mini bikes was a great release for me because to me it was like it's art. You know what I mean? Each bike that you build from hand is your bike. It doesn't matter if it looks like a heap of dog shit. You still built it. It's still yours. You'll gain experience. You'll get better at it. And your bikes will start looking like these. I mean, my first bike is embarrassing to me. You know what I mean? It's just cheap, easy made. Now, this green one, I really like this one. It's got the big fat seat on it. You know what I mean? It's hell, I even 3D printed a cup holder for it. I have a little get back whip that I'm going to put on there. Everything like back in the NC days. I really started getting the hang of the welding and things. I got a new welder. Everything was going much smoother. So then along came the big bike. I wanted to do a 420 electric start build and make a regular size bike. The blue bike was, I just had a vision with that one. I wanted it to look like a bigger bike, but smaller. You know what I mean? It just like a mid bike instead of a mini bike, more of a mid bike. And that's exactly what I got. I got a better bender. The first bender I was using was like a $100 Amazon thing where you actually physically bend the pipe. And then I spent, I think, with the die, it was almost $400 for a ratcheting bender. So I want to give a shout out to Emco. They did my seat on the green bike. Man, I couldn't be happier. I'll tell you, I weigh 260 pounds. I'm a big motherfucker, okay? And I told them I want a dense seat, you know what I mean? Because I plan to sit on that sucker for a minute. It's got a 1.5 gallon gas tank. It's a long ride bike. I don't want it squashing out to where I'm sitting on a freaking plank of wood. And he did. He put the soft stuff on the top, dense stuff down bottom. It's so clean and precise, and I'm a picky, okay? I couldn't be happier. He even made me this shirt, okay? And he sent me a custom work rag and a koozie. I mean, he only charged me $175 for the whole shit and shebang. And I gotta tell you, that's a hell of a deal. Because it's custom size. I had to make it for this bike. It's not something that he just offers. The guy in town, he wanted $200 just for the leather. This is suede leather, double stitch, green piping, even velvet at the bottom. Then he paid $22 to ship it. This t-shirt, I make t-shirts all the time. He's probably got about $7-8 into this. He's probably got a few bucks into this and a few bucks into this. I couldn't recommend anyone more than I recommend them. The seat is fucking beautiful. It is fucking beautiful. I'm sorry to swear, but it's fucking beautiful. I mean, I like that shit. The green bike was just something to keep me busy in the wintertime. I had seen Mardy, again, putting these big fat tires on these Coleman 200 something, whatever, with the rack on the back. Pretty slick looking. I really like the way that looks. I just took like some scraps that I had and I bent some loops because I'd never bent loops before. Um, I learned the hard way. There's a couple pieces of pipe, and that's actually where my handlebars come from, is from spare pieces of pipe. I also needed to cover the juggernaut, okay, the driver, the torque converter. So I just took the plastic cover and cut it out real nice, sanded it down, and painted it with a flat black. It looks like brand new plastic. Looks like it was made that way. So it's working really well. I also, my handlebars, we'll get into that. You'll see my bars don't look like anybody else's bars. If they do look like someone's bars, it's probably Paul Yaffe. He made them old school kind of bicycle looking handlebars. So I made more of a Y bar. Again, it was just a couple of pieces with the blue bike that I had bent and made a mistake. And I just used those to make the bars. I just stuck them in like that, which is pretty cool because your hands are out here, right? And you can see there's nothing in your way. There's no bars coming down and crap you got to look through or anything. It's meant to be a cruiser bike. I was really hoping that the bike would stand up on its own, but it doesn't because of the width of the tire. I think if I did it again, I would actually do a jack shaft setup so that you could center the engine and then jack shaft the width of the wheel. Because right now the motor is offset to the left to make up for the width of the wheel. And I like to build things with my hands. I like to spend my time doing something that I have something to show for afterward. And this is really satisfying. But the problem is like what you see behind me. I have a garage full of little bikes. In the winter, I literally stack them up in a shed. So I got to start unloading these bikes. I mean, when I first make them, there's no fucking way. You shoot me before I get rid of one of those bikes. But now, let's sell them. You know what I mean? Bidenomics did not work. Everybody's broke. I need to sell some bikes. So if you want some bikes, man, hit me up. I would love to get rid of some. I'm not going to get rid of the blue one. I'm sorry. If you want me to build you one, no problem. And I'm not getting rid of the green one. But little fatties for sale. The 385 RO is for sale. I haven't even talked about that one yet. These are my 3D printed foot pads. These are awesome. They go on there pretty snug. You can see they'll move if you want them to. If you don't like them to move like that, I mean, it's a great fit. You just put a little hot glue in there and slide them on. You're good to go. This is my cup holder. We're going to put this on with some VHB or two-sided tape. VHB is the really heavy-duty stuff. I'm going to put it right there so that I can carry my drink with me. This is a gas tank off of Amazon. It's $100. It's a gallon and a half. These are 3D printed little trays that I made, or little rails to keep the 12-inch pipe clamps from ruining the paint. All right, so now we'll go over the blue bike, which is still my favorite bike. These are 12-inch pit bike rims. These are Shinko, I want to say 120 by 70 by 12 tires. These are the brake discs that go on it, of course, and that same brake setup that I have on the green bike. This is a 212, all built out with the, billet, everything, blah, 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 blah. I think I'm running 26-pound springs with a hot 265 cam in it. She scoots right along, no problem. And usually all my bikes have the same forks. I made my own front brake system here with one of these collars and just welded the brake mount to the collar. Works really well. I couldn't put it behind. I forget why, so I had to put it in the front. Usually you'd want your brake behind the fork just so that it helps soak up the inertia, but it just, the way the thing's made, it wouldn't work that way. And that's a double piston brake. All right, so now we'll go over the big bike. So this is a 16-inch Fat 48, they call it, from Hard Racing. And this is the soft tail brake disc that goes on it. And this is the same double piston front caliper that I have on the other bike. This is I want to say 2.5 gallon or 3 gallon, something like that, tank from Amazon. Run down. I made my own little gas gauge in there. When I put the TM32 on there, carb, I can't run a pulse pump with that carb unless I spend more money and rebuild the carb to be able to handle the pressure. But it runs just fine with gravity feed. So this is electric start with a battery. This is the pipe that I made that's all etched. It's etched from about here down. And these are, brass sleeves that I heat fit onto everything. I think I'm still running the same thing. A 42 rear sprocket with, I think it's a 12 in the front, 40 chain, or 420 chain, excuse me. And the forks. Let me tell you about the forks. These probably look really familiar to you from, here down. Okay. So you see here the brake disc is behind it. This one on this side, I was able to do it that way. But these are the normal $100 forks that everybody buys. But what I did was I took that top piece off and I drilled some holes. I found some pipe that was the same inside diameter as this, outside diameter. Put them up to about here, drilled holes on each side and welded those holes to those forks so I could extend those forks way up to here. So I made my own trees and extensions, and then I just put a cap on the top. This is a 10 by 7 wheel with the same 205 tire on it. So the green bike actually is an inch wider wheel with the same tire. Other than that, that's about it.